Yes. And we are live.
All
Hey,
right.
everybody.
Sure. So, thank you to everybody for showing up, to all the players, everybody in chat. You may be wondering, where is V? Sadly, V is sick. So if you could send thoughts, prayers, positive vibes, however you wish to communicate goodwill, please do so.
The murder rocks attacked. We're sorry, everyone.
So, in V's absence, we, the players, decided to have a discussion about the past year. Just all of the exciting things that have happened, how characters have grown and changed beyond what we expected, and just favorite stuff. So as usual, I'm going to have everybody say hello to test our audio. People can hear me apparently because I've gotten responses. So, Thomas?
Yes. Hi, Thomas here. Always good to see you.
Stuff now.
Yes.
And Q?
Hurrah.
And Alana?
Hurrah, everyone. Hi.
And last but definitely not least, Cappella.
Hello.
Excellent. So, as I said, we're doing a discussion. Oh, I should do the rest of V's traditional intro.
Yes.
If you like what we do, support us on Patreon. You can see it down there. Continue to buy Cyan things. They're the reason we are all here after all.
Are those the coasters?
Including
It's going to
beautiful
say,
things like that.
Oh,
can
my
we
goodness.
please talk about Kelly's coasters? I have secretly known about them for a bit because Kelly will prototype some of the stuff that she makes for Cyan by showing prototypes to the Mysterium Committee, and I've been waiting for them to drop for like 3 months.
I had no
Might have
idea
not
this
arrived yet.
existed.
Might have not arrived because I'm moving, but everyone should get them.
Sat on my coffee table. I love them. They're so gorgeous. Look at this work. Just look at this work. If you can.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. That is lovely.
So cute. I love
Yeah.
it.
So, if you buy Cyan stuff, you will definitely not be disappointed.
Yes.
The other traditional part of the introduction is I get to plug my wife's work. So behind me, you see the most of the cover of my wife's new book, Bunster. It is about a bunny and his little gang of ducklings. It's coming out officially on the 5th, and you can find it at various book-related places online.
I definitely thought that was a fox, and that's a me problem. But I just see brown with the ruff, and I'm like, fox.
So, ironically, my favorite animal is a fox, and a lot of my wife's art now include foxes because of that.
Okay, can we see some fox art later?
Yeah.
Next time.
Next time I will put up some fox art.
Like, I'm just picturing, like, if it was Foxter, like, it would be a very different story. It would be over very quickly.
Certainly would.
It could be a fox Easter where the fox is learning about friendship or something. I don't know.
I read that story by Beatrix Potter. That's not how it went.
No, sorry.
Yeah. So bunnies, ducklings, cuteness, friends. Look it up if you are interested, and thanks. All right. So I wanted to start out with a question about the hardest part of making a character. So, Q, how did you discover your character's name?
I discovered Kenneth's name by, I actually went into
the historical, like the archive files, and looked at names of historical Dunny kings because I thought Kenneth's parents might be hoity-toity enough to care about that. So basically I went in and I started looking at running themes, pieces of names, and I was, there's a lot of, Kefrith and all these other names. So I just sort of took bits and pieces and created a name. It went through like 5 iterations of spellings and we're finally settled on one, but it's always been sort of the same name.
Very good. All right, now Alana, where did Tomei's name come from?
Yeah, it's funny. There's some similarity to Q's process for choosing a name. I actually picked 2 names for my character. One is Tomei, obviously the one that she's been going by. And then there's also the name that the family who adopted her gave her, which was Morpa. And I kind of also coming from this wealthy kind of aristocratic Dunny family, like Canet, I was thinking maybe my parents would have given me some sort of a pretentious name. And so Morpa, I think, is the Dunny word for queen, that they had these pretensions of me being kind of an heir to their family's prestige. And that Tomei hated that name and the expectations that went along with it. And so instead, I think that Tomei is the Dunny word for homesick, I believe. That is just a big part of her character, is wanting to find a place to belong and feeling like her home is not actually with the family that has raised her. So I basically just cheated off of existing Dunny words.
That sounds perfectly reasonable
This
to
begs
me.
the question, now that she's got her new family, us, is she gonna get a 3rd name? Are you gonna change it again?
Good question. I mean, now I guess she's the child of the seed, so
Oh,
too
boy.
many names. Too many names.
Yeah.
Too many names, just so many names. Like, what's in the backpack, Toma? It's like, oh, it's all my extra names.
I'm sure she has like some fake ID cards as well.
I was like, well, yeah,
Definitely.
clearly
If
future
anyone had fake
Tomei.
ID cards.
Yeah, clearly future Tomei has all the names.
Right. We've decided that character is Nome. Is that
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was decided?
Yes. No, man, not Tomei.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Cappella, where did Solia come from?
Same as everyone else, so I am not particularly creative. It was the same deal, actually. I knew that I wanted to go with, like, we were going to be out and exploring, so I kind of wanted to go with a theme of warm and sunny. So Sol is obviously, if we were playing a normal campaign where we weren't Dunny, I might have gone with something like Solara. So then I just went roaming through the Guild of Archivists wiki to look for all female Dunny names, and then took an ending from an existing name.
Very good. It fits your character well.
She sure is the charge in first. Go ahead. Terrible
Yes.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. No, I'm not.
Ah!
I'm really not. This is how the plot goes. Every
Yes.
campaign needs that one guy.
It's true.
Exactly.
We're
We have a few
glad
of
you're
them.
here.
So it's like Toma and Sully are like, no, me, I get to do the dangerous thing first.
I really want there to be a fan art.
Landris is like, no, it should be me.
No. You know those baby leashes, baby backpack leashes? I
Yep.
need someone to like do fan art. Like, you know how sometimes you'll see in game arts like characters running
Yep.
along the screen?
Yes.
I really want to see like Landris baby leashing those
Like
two
all of
running
us.
ahead
Yeah.
while
And
the
actually,
rest
could
are
he
just
baby
following,
leash
like-
Kenneth too? Except she'll be the one that's like dragging behind them.
Yeah.
like head down.
Okay, so
What a
it's
figure
Landra.
anyway, Disneyland sucks.
So it's
Yeah.
Landris, and then it's those two in front, and then it's Kenneth behind, and then Basava is just walking nearby because Basava doesn't need a baby leash.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Dude, that would be funny. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
That
any
also now that we're in the future or Hunrath or wherever, yes,
Mhm.
that might be exactly what happens, Parker.
Mhm. Any aspiring artists in the chat? Make that happen.
This would be great.
So Thomas, how did you come up with Landris's name?
So I approach my character building kind of like the same regardless of the campaign. So I'm odd. I'll find a mini, whether it's one that I've painted or not. And in this case, it was one I hadn't painted yet. And I'll just sort of look at it and I'll do the whole story first. And the name is always the last thing that comes because, I mean, if I make like a Steve, right? And then Steve goes off and does this, well, he might not feel like a Steve by the end. And then I'm stuck with, well, I got to start and shoehorn making Steve fit here. And so then, yeah, as he sort of, comes to being what his concept was, I just started thinking more and more about it and was, yeah, also kind of looked around at what other Dunny names for men have been, traditionally throughout and went with something where it's relatively, I'm assuming it's not like the exotic Viovis or, a Gira or, anything like that. But, just like something that still manages because a lot of names end with the us sound,
Mhm.
no matter how they kind of wind up being. So that seems to be a pretty common tradition around Dunny. And it was one of those, he kind of started as the guy you might lose in a crowd, so having a name that sort of fit that too. And again, that sound, like that AH, it's everywhere. It's
Okay.
Reluma and all that sort of stuff. So using a lot of very common stuff. So, for lack of a better sort of descriptor, much like a John Smith or a John Doe, you might look at this old Landris, who the heck's that guy? Like, he's nobody, and sort of disappeared that way. And so, because he also went through a couple of different names, because I think there was an S-based one too. Because that was the other one. I had like 3, but then as the character sheets were coming up, like I was like, any of these 3 I'll be happy with. But like we had we wound up with an S with Celia. It's like, okay, well, we'll cross off the S-based one. And then I think there was it wasn't T, but it was either the F or the K. I had one based off of that, and then when you or Kenneth came through, and I was like, well, nope, but nobody used L, so I was like, all right, get nice spread of letters across there, so we don't wind up with the name sound-alikes too.
Mhm.
And yeah, it still wound up working, and I think it still kind of works. Even the characters changed a lot, but its name still kind of works.
Yeah, it certainly does. So to wrap it off, Mishavan, I came up with the name the same way I do everything else. Just start kind of muttering words, thinking about the character, and eventually I came up with, I was building an engineer, right? That was my initial idea. And I came up with something that was Denise sounding, but was also a little bit of a complicated series of syllables. And most crucially, had the apostrophe. So that seemed to fit the character. The little hard m at the beginning, and then the Shavan is kind of maybe a little bit exotic as far as Denis is concerned, but it's a pleasing series of sounds, and it just went well with the character, and I've been happy with it ever since. All right, so thank you all. That was fascinating. So the next question is, again, thinking about your character, how has it grown in a way that you didn't intend? maybe relationship, maybe emotionally, maybe went somewhere you did not absolutely expect. So we'll start with Cappella this time.
I think that I expected, obviously, a lot of what I did. Like I knew that I was going to create a surveyor, right? I knew that I wanted to create someone who had a reason to be out in the ages and like to explore. I knew that that probably meant she was going to have that kind of first in behavior. I think what I really did not expect to develop, but did, was the way she immediately bonded to Tome and immediately went from, I want to prove myself to the Guild of Surveyors in a way that possibly could have been well played like Landris, you know, in the very much lawful following the rules, to okay, I want to prove that I'm not just shitty new money and I'm good at this, but well, I wanted to prove myself in this hierarchy, but also I am now ride or die for. Like, man, did she go down that slippery slope a lot faster than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, so for Mishavan, I'm actually gonna say something similar. Thomas, did I lose you?
No, I'm right here. Sorry, I was
Okay.
finishing chewing.
I made Mishavan as a little bit of a standoffish. He's he wasn't really sure about this group coming in, and I expected him to kind of grow to accept the rest of the group, but I did not expect him to really kind of take Tome under his wing. This, like, initially his thought was that, you know, we have this random kid that's running around with us. But now he kind of thinks of her like the little sister. And that I really did not see that coming. Did not expect that sort of, I don't know, protectiveness and support to come about. And I'm really happy it did. So Thomas, what about you?
Yeah,
Landris has been through a lot.
Landris has changed a lot. Landris was originally conceived as like that neurotic guy, you know, the like really soft spoken, really, really like he'd be the guy who worked at OSHA, you know, if you, we all know that one person, it's like, well, actually, you know, the effectively the real life rules lawyer, right? And I think his biggest first thing, because he's always he was when he first started, he was very neurotically like focused on all the tiny details and make sure we followed all the rules and everything like that. And well, that kind of went out the window our first age. He was a little ball of stress. And I think Murder Rocks, and he really took that first shift when we found the Kennelin. The first, I guess, well, that's completely against the rules. And you know, he slowly kind of evolved, and Tome and Celia and Kenneth, they've all rubbed off on him because he would have never spoken to Tellin the way he speaks to Tellin now during like the first couple of sessions. But he's
But you love us.
right. Well, and see it because it's a different kind of thing because he still has that duty and he's still neurotically focused. The issue is now, because of everything that's happened, he's neurotically focused and went way more tinfoil hat than he ever initially was thinking. You know, I had never imagined him going full tinfoil hat mode, but that is definitely the road he went down, and it's been an interesting thing to see because he looks at everybody like, yeah, he's responsible for all y'all, but it's a little bit more than just he's the maintainer trying to make sure this, task succeeds. And now you're closer to family than just the people he was responsible for. And I haven't thought, because it's to the point where Landris kind of acts himself now. The words just sort of come out. I don't have to role play him as much now. It just sort of goes. And I am very interested to see what he does after the siege and where we end up now, because I don't know, and I'm very interested to see where he takes it.
Yeah.
I got a question.
We have no idea what's going to happen next. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Kat.
I wanted to point of order the concept of Lettuce's tinfoil hat conspiracy board red string man. But is that really the case when it turns out to be true though?
Right? Everybody's crazy
just
but
wanted
me.
But also we're not wrong.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
true. I mean,
It's like, yeah, we're not wrong. Oh.
Oh wait,
We're not wrong.
Like, oh no.
No, everybody died. Crap. We could have saved more people with this seed thing. Oh well.
Yeah.
that's so Q. How has Kenneth changed in unexpected ways?
It's funny, like so many of us created these really standalone, standoffish characters forced into these situation, which is it's just funny. But I honestly didn't expect Kenneth to actually care so much. I didn't expect her to care that the people at Kennelin were getting used to make paper. I didn't think she'd care about, I don't know, graveyards and whatnot. I didn't really anticipate that, but I think she actually cares deeply, and that's why she holds everything at arm's length, because if someone finds out she cares, then it's just going to hurt more. So I think maybe she hasn't changed. Maybe she's always been like this, but I feel like I've gotten to know her better. And yeah, I didn't quite expect her to be quite so interactive. Wow, Landris is being a pain. Maybe he should go to the office.
Yeah.
Did not really expect her to be quite so hands-on.
The true caring were the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, so caring.
Judy actually posed a good question in chat.
I'm going to come back to that after we finish this round.
Yeah.
And so Alana, Tome.
The linchpin of the entire group.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did not expect that. I certainly never expected that. It's been really lovely hearing other people's reflections on their characters and the character relationships. I think there are a couple of very obvious answers I could give about things that surprised me and how my character changed. For example, being implicated in this vast prophecy by this cult, and definitely did expect that. Even more did not expect to meet myself from the future, or whoever this other Nome turns out to be. So definite big surprises there. But yeah, I think kind of along the same lines of what other people have been saying, I started out, I think, Tome was basically just hiding out in the basement that ended up being the headquarters. She wasn't really looking for this group to form around her. It just sort of came to her, and she was a runaway looking for something, but I don't think she expected to find it here. I think she was very kind of focused on her origins and where did she come from, and she wanted a sense of family. But it was a surprise to find it in this group, especially starting out as the intern. And I think I even as a player was worried once Tome was labeled the intern that there would just be this dynamic where she was kind of always shunted to the side a little bit, and hazed and that sort of thing. And it was just, I think really moving to see it not go that direction. And in turn, I, as like a player, was trying to kind of rein in a little bit on Tomei's tendencies to just run off and do her own thing, and to try to make her more of a team player when it felt like there was actually a place for her on the team. And so, yeah, I think that's been my favorite part of her growth, is just seeing her find her place with this particular group, and seeing this group kind of become the family that she was looking for.
Yeah, and we are all glad we are all here.
Yes.
So, as Thomas mentioned, Junie Girl asked in the chat, do you think the characters were created as standoffish because you don't know how the group will gel when you start? So I'm going to offer a little bit of an opinion there, and then I'm going to open it up to anyone else who wants to answer. For me personally, the Dini have always kind of felt standoffish. They've always felt very reserved and a little bit maybe condescending. Gen is a prime example, you could say. And it, at least for Mishavan, it felt like that was who he was, but taking that, instead of being condescending, just a little bit more removed from the front lines, so to speak, of age exploration. And then because of the group actually gelling really well, it seems like we all kind of work past that reservation, that cultural reservation, to be the family that we turned out to be. So does anyone else have an opinion?
I think for me, that summed it up, I do quite well. But also I don't always get to play, like, I don't know why I wanted to play a total jerk, but I never get a chance to, and I thought,
Yeah.
like, what could possibly go wrong? And V was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to play this character? And I'm like, I'll do my best to, like, get her to do stuff for them. And like, I kind of do. And V was like, well, okay, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, if you really do think about, like, every Dunny figure, from even in the books like Viovis to Yisha and Escher, like in, you know, the more recent, they're not the nicest people to interface with. Atris is kind of the nicest Dunny guy we ever meet. And
Atris
everybody
the
else,
Elder in Book of Tiana is the most outgoing, nicest, approachable person. And he's you know what? I'm sorry to interject, but that just made me think, I wonder if subconsciously, those of you who, for everybody who doesn't know, V told us a bit about the campaign beforehand, so we were able to bounce our characters off each other a little bit more. Yeah. So even though we knew that somebody might be standoffish or whatever, we knew some of what we were getting into, so we could make characters based on that. And I had been deciding between the longest time between surveyor or cartographer, and now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if subconsciously the fact that the surveyors tend to be outward facing, like the maintainers, maybe subconsciously influenced the fact that Sully is one of the more outgoing and less how do I nicely be like Dunny but with a stick up your butt, like Atris?
I mean,
because the most relaxed
a chisel in your exhaust.
There you go.
Yes. The most relaxed Dunny we see in Book of Tiana are either the linguists or the surveyors, and I feel like that's relevant somehow.
Well, and the old men.
They just don't care anymore.
The oldest of the guild masters tend to be, but you see that in most like once you reach a certain age, you just kind of stop caring.
Unless you're Gen.
Yes.
Yeah. Then again, by the time we see Gen, he's still pretty young comparatively.
Subjugate all the people.
Yeah.
That's true. Gen, I mean, as far as Denis are concerned, he's middle-aged, as I recall.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, you're the best.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks a bunch for that question, Junie girl. So the next question is, thinking back over the past year and a bit, what is your favorite moment from another character? So I'll let that percolate for just a moment while I answer the question. When we went to Ishna, I think that's the one with the storms, right? I still get them confused.
Yeah.
Wasteland with the giant storm.
Mm-hmm.
Tomei, while we were fighting our way through the storm, Tomei went up on a hill and put a walking stick up there to attract the lightning.
Yes.
And I just had this vision of, this late teens girl with the wind beating at her, jabbing this metal rod into the rock, and just this amazing epic picture. So that was my favorite moment, at least from recent times. Does anyone else have any other thoughts?
That's a good one. That's like Sting for the trailer. That's like your final trailer shot before you do it.
Yeah,
Coming soon date.
That
That
really would be if we were doing a.
I love how epic you made that. Thank you for making that sound so much more impressive than I imagined it in my head.
You're welcome.
Because there's a couple from Landris that always stick with me, but I think for other characters, because the issue is, so some of the best moments with other characters don't happen when Landris is there, and so I try. So I try to tune out very slightly so I don't get in character, out of character messed up too much. But I gotta say, the incident in the graveyard, just the absolute cluster that happened, because you and Tomei, Pharaoh, are often trying to get this, the key, and then Solia and Kenneth are just reaming into these old people. And it is the picture perfect of if Landris had been there, he would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get it later." But it perfectly surmises everything about our group of just, it is so much deviant from the traditional Dunny way of doing things that it works, and it's great. And I think that just that entire graveyard scene, and then probably following up, because I went back and watched the scene you had with Tomei's grandmother before everything went to pot, like Mishavan.
Oh, yeah.
You took her out, and
yeah,
it was like, this is what, that was a beautiful scene as well. Like there's a lot of humor, but there's a lot of really good, cool stuff that happens too.
Yeah, that graveyard scene was so good. I feel like it really exemplified a lot of the different characters' personalities, and I love how Mishavan was kind of being that older brother figure, kind of helping to protect Tomei a little bit, keep an eye out, stand between her and the rest of what was going on, and then Solia and Kenneth just
aggro.
Yeah, but in a way that I think everyone totally was behind you on, and I know that Tomei was also getting impassioned about that, but had to kind of hide her identity a little bit, and was just very grateful that the two of you were talking back to that classism. I also just want to shout out as a character moment, this is definitely recency bias because I just remember this from I think last session, but when Kenneth went out and I think brought baked goods to all of the different spies who were hanging out outside the headquarters, or do you need any water or whatever it was, just using that Guild of Caterers persona in the most subversive way.
Fill a deceive roll and you get great stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved. Actually, I liked coming out of Kennelin after the second explosion, and poor Laundress walking in, and there's like a body on the table. and of course Helen's like not far behind, kind of a thing. And it's like, what did you do? It's like, we didn't kill him. Like, no, but we might be Thomas' dad. And like everybody got on board. He's like, okay. And then, we put the body in a maintainer's suit, and like, he's like, no, I'll take him to Salo. And he, like, the way Laundress, like, he's like, no, like we'll keep the body safe, and bundled them up and got him out of there. I also really appreciate when Mishavan like stepped in, because Kenneth suddenly was terrified to talk to her own mother. I don't know why that happened, but I love the whole 5 locks and then like extra locks thing, like he does every single time. Like, it's the consistency that I love about Mishavan. It's like, oh,
there's always a couple new added ones.
This is great. I love this bit. Something so satisfying about something that consistent to me. It's like a running gag, and I love running gags.
If everything comes together for Mysterium, I definitely need to have a Mishavan locked door.
Yeah.
Just here are all of the locks that we have. Enjoy. What's with them?
Anything special to open them? No, it's just
they're just locks.
Just locks.
A good murder rock would render them all useless, but
it's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to add?
Oh, I don't know. There are so many good moments that I'm in love with, but I think one of them was when we were going to blow up what was it, the smuggling place?
Yes.
And and Letters being like, I'm gonna go through last, and all right, wait to link through, hold the book to the homepage. Tomei links through it, is it, dude? Landers links through it is on fire, and Mohammed's response is just immediately stuffs him into the jellyfish river. Like,
that's
I think for me, just the jellyfish river existing is the funniest thing in the world to me. Like, so like the time Solia got stung, the time we went diving through the passage, shoving an on fire Landers in there. Honestly, every time the jellyfish river shows up, I just lose it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, parachute jellies are just
it.
like murder rocks. Like they're their own like character at this point.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Well done, Landers, adding the jellyfish river.
Well, that's one of my
planned.
favorite moments too, because it goes from like such a tense drama to instant humor. Like all the like, oh crap is diffused by the like, everybody's okay, we could take a beat. Oh, Landers is gone.
Yeah. Like, oh, problem solved, he's not on fire.
Yep. And it made for such a great like couple of sessions, because the injury really allowed some fun interactions too of, well, we can't just do it this way.
Yep. All right. Yeah, we've definitely had some amazing moments. So next question, talking about NPCs. Who is your most disliked NPC, and why is it Tellen?
Fair. I really hate Graveyard Guy.
I'll give him a close second place.
Yeah.
Like, there's one obvious answer here for Celia. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mostly just wanted to talk about like the group's relationship with Tellen, because he's been the NPC that we've interacted with almost the most. I mean, Audrey and the writer guildmaster Devlin are close, are around the same, but Tellen seems to have the most, say, impactful interactions. I feel like it's fitting to start with Thomas.
Most disliked. So out of character, Tellen definitely is most disliked, because he's he's the closest thing we have to a true antagonist, right?
Mhm.
Even though he's probably not near as antagonistic as we all make him out to be, he is the closest thing we have to a true bad guy that we encounter on a regular basis. And no matter what we do, he's always there. And I love that chemistry he has with our group, where it is always the when's he gonna show up and how's he gonna mess with us next time he shows up. And clearly he's not actually as bad as we think it, because like if he wasn't the guy who bugged us, and so he's clearly out of the loop on a few things too. So it's one of those like, if we hadn't gotten zapped to the future, I would have been interested to see what maybe was going on that he was out of the loop on and where that could have gone. But I'm interested to see where we go now too. In character, the character I hate the most is the guy who made Landris act uncharacteristically like Landris, right? The cult member where Landris like had to sit there doing the interrogation, because that's not something he enjoys doing, but it's part of the maintainer job, and doing it so one of y'all doesn't have to, right?
Mhm.
And that's, he doesn't like having to be that person. He'll do it. I mean, like he made a guy tackle himself to the ground. You know, he's there to protect the group. But that would be, he does not like the person that kind of stuff brings out in him. So hope that answers
Yeah.
both of those.
Yep. Yeah. So Q, NPC and a bit on Talon, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I like the whole like breaking it up in character, out of character thing. Because like in character, like kind of just sees Talon as always showing up at the wrong time. He always yells at them for something, and it just slows everybody down. She doesn't really see Helen as having like any major influence on her life, so she's like, yeah, she's not. He's kind of here nor there. He's obnoxious, and you have to deal with him. But like in character, but out of character, I think. No, wait. Out of character, I agree. Helen's a big thorn in the side, but Kennett's never trusted Adri. She doesn't like him. Yeah, I think she'd be far more concerned if Adri pops up out of the woodwork than anybody else, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's
Even
their
with the help
opinion.
he's given.
yeah, he's probably there with us because he was close enough to the seed. I bet you he's gonna crop up. Because he was just outside the building.
True. All those cultists were too, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, who knows?
This could be a
what-
very
Back to
awkward
John.
discussion next month.
These are things I don't want to think about.
Uh,
Well,
All
we
right.
do have a jellyfish.
we
Remember?
certainly do.
Welcome to
Alana.
our home. So,
Yes.
Ilana, thoughts on your official favorite or least favorite NPC and a little bit on Talon, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I do love Talon. I love how he's been one of the constants in our campaign. I do feel that like he seemed like he loomed very large early on, and then a lot of other entities kind of put him into perspective, like realizing we were in deep with the Relima and realizing how inhumane the cults could be. Talon no longer seemed like the one we needed to fear most, and yet he was always there to be a thorn at our side, and kind of just like almost like a, like the enemy, and I think that Talon is obviously nothing like V, but I think she always did a really good job of portraying just this like grumpy bureaucrat. I feel like she really nailed that character. And so there are always a lot of funny moments with Helen that I appreciate. As far as Tome goes, I think, she basically just kind of turns away a little bit when Helen's around. She doesn't she tries to just kind of be off his radar. And I think because he kind of always saw her as the intern who wasn't fully supposed to be there, he actually never did care very much about her, which she's fine with. But yeah, I agree very much with what Thomas was saying about the cultist. I think Faroguy is maybe the name that I wrote down, that eventually that character got a name.
Yeah.
I think just given that like he was sort of the spokesperson of the cult, he said the most outrageous things about like the Kennelites, and got Tomei's temper up the most.
That was a
I
scary
think-
scene, actually.
Yeah, it was scary hearing what he was saying. It was also scary seeing how Tomei was responding
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
That whole scene. Oof.
Yeah, that
we-
was like not the character I wanted to be playing either, but that's sort of how it developed organically.
Mhm.
We never got his name. Ahmet was the Reliuma person we captured. That was the name we got there, but we never got the cultist name for some silly reason.
I wrote it down in our session 11 that it was
Really?
Faroguy, but
Huh.
Yeah, I have it too. Captured
I
Conan
missed
Bake
that
Off.
one.
Yeah.
Well, I missed that one then. Cool.
I think View is like, we keep not having a name for this character. Let's pick one.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell who among us takes notes.
Well, I do. I just for some reason missed that one. Okay,
Well,
I take notes of
I'm
what I know
speaking-
in character. Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I have 10 pages of notes from last session. I'm so sorry, Cap, that I didn't write them up for you. I don't know if you had a chance to watch them or not, but
So
I will
yeah,
get those notes up.
I was actually going to say, so I'm going to jump in laughing because the whole we got booted into the future, and like it was referenced to me after last session by the hey, you missed some stuff, including this, but I because I've been moving, as the rest of the chat now knows, I am moving and getting married this month.
Yay.
Help. But because of that, I haven't actually caught up on the video of last session. So I know that stuff happened, but I really should watch the whole thing rather
should.
than just hear a recap.
You should.
I promise I'm gonna do it. I promise. But on that note, I say as we're still on stream, administratively, we might want to put up. Oh, thanks, guys. We might want to put up all of our notes,
Yeah.
like for all of the current sessions, collate them together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'll
think
get
we
on.
had a
I
plan.
think-
for
Yeah,
that
I think
at
that's
some
part
point.
of that other thing. I don't remember if
Yes.
it's been talked about or not, but yeah.
But I
Yeah,
just
we're
think
all
it's
in.
really super funny.
Oh yeah.
Like, was Celia there for that in character? I assume I was there for that and just taking a nap on something. I'm gonna go with
You're-
that.
Yeah.
We left you,
you-
on, we actually left you in,
Well, so you were in my age. We were. So
Mhm.
I think the plan was
No.
she was coming
left
back
her in the
for-
desert.
Well, right,
Helen.
but she was getting back to because she still had a linking book to get to my age.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
we're
was done
hoping
there.
that she's going to notice she can't link to Dunny and that she'll come to Ladris's age.
Well, no,
but she
I
better bring those two Relima with her.
right.
Or
Well,
they're gonna be
I think she linked in. I think probably what'll make sense is she had linked in
Yeah.
before we plant because we planted the seed
Yeah.
in my age, and
That
so
was,
she's.
that was the
I-
that was
I-
the second thing Kenneth did for the record was check
Mm.
color to see if the book still worked so that we could get you back.
Because I picture
Yep.
Celia being asleep in like one of the things like after dealing with the Relium caterers for however long, just like
Yeah.
I need a nap, and then stumbling out like, was there an earthquake?
What the?
What happened? Like, why is there a tree?
With the glowing tree.
I just want everyone to know how much hilarity that's going to be. So
Oh.
you should definitely check out the raw level of comedy I'm going to put into
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh boy.
This is really like one of those nightmares where you've fallen asleep and wake up only, you know.
You're awake.
Another
The being
nightmare.
awake is worse
Mhm.
than the nightmare you were just in. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're almost out of time. So I'd like to quickly wrap up the NPC question, if you don't mind, Cappella.
Sorry. Yeah, out of character, I like Tellen. Honestly, because of the whole, he's an antagonist, he's a force that we have to work around. He's, the thing about, do you climb the mountain? Do you dynamite your way through the mountain? Do you try to find a mountain pass? Do you try to do something really fucking weird, like blow up a dam to have water flow to like sail you through the pass or whatever? Like, he's our mountain. He was the thing we had to work around for so long. So I think he's fantastic. And Celia wants to punch him in the nuts.
That's fair.
Because he's the exemplifier of what she thinks is wrong with things, the hidebound, up his own butt, tradition focused. You will do this and that and this and that and no unauthorized. And it's just like,
And he didn't like her report.
Yeah, Mr. Principal. Yeah.
He's that bad manager. You all know one.
Mhm.
He's that terrible manager.
Well, considering how many times he knows where Laundress is, it's like, does he just sit there twiddling his thumbs going, gosh, I wonder where Laundress is, if I can go terrify him today. Oh, fantastic. He's in the city.
Glorious.
So,
he's not doing anything else that day.
Yeah, that's my take on him.
That seems
Also,
like
I
a
still
very
hate
fair-
Graveyard Guy.
A graveyard guy, yeah, no.
Yep,
Yeah.
very fair.
Kenneth's not super happy with him either, because he's gotten her in trouble with her mom, so, Tellen. I'm like, who complains?
Yeah.
The hierarchy, like that, the route that went.
Mhm.
Yikes. Too many people with not enough to do. He needs a hobby.
Yeah.
So I'll be the last one to answer this question, and
Yeah.
I'll decide if we're going to wrap up yet. So I personally, as the person, I agree. Tellen is great. He's been a great foil for the group. He's been a driver of invention, so to speak. Forced us to do things, and like Thomas said, been the antagonist, the one that we get mad at. In character, Mashavan thinks he's a little bit pathetic for trying to exercise such strong control over this group, and it is Mashavan's guilty pleasure to just overwhelm him with technobabble,
Which we enjoy immensely.
And Mashavan knows that it's really not the best way to interact with him, but it's so perversely satisfying.
Have we considered it's funny, TM?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's now 2:00, and due to some other commitments, some of us have to leave at this point. So I think now is a great time to kind of wrap it up. So thank you so much to our players for joining this discussion. It was great, wonderful to relive some memories, have some laughs, and to look ahead to the future. And thank you so much to our chat for participating, suggesting questions, and just being here supporting us the whole way.
I always
Speaking-
look forward to the recurring names I see. Like,
Yes.
I know it's not just me.
Oh,
Like
yes.
Parker, Junie, Rachel, we see you guys all the time and we love
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. I see
we're
y'all in the
so
other
happy you're
streams
here.
as well, so it's always good to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, you're like our buddies.
So speaking of support, Patreon, wherever the link happens to be at this moment, and continue to buy Cyan stuff. And we will see you all next time.
Yeah, keep your eyes
Sure.
open as well, because there might be other
Thanks for
Because
emceeing,
things
Faroguy.
on the way.
Guys.
That
Thanks for running this, Pharaoh. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Got
is
our-
a big Gen star water.
Yeah.
It's exactly
nice.
the kind of water bottle Gen would have.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout because there might be some other cool,
Like,
fun
wait,
teaser
there's a
things.
5-gallon version. I need
Yes, I need that one right now. So keep your eyes open. There might be some other stuff
All right.
trickling out over the next month or so. So
Yep. So
Yes.
keep an eye out for that.
And would
And,
have a water bottle so big he'd need a Rivenite to carry it.
yes,
Oh no.
yes.
All right. So
Well,
again,
this is-
thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you all next time.
Uh,